Hey guys, welcome to Talking Strongman. As you can see, I am joined by Darren Sadler, main man at Giants Live. I say main man, as you and Colin, but you are...
Main man, yeah.
Yeah, main man. Sorry, Colin, if you're watching. How's things? You good?
Yeah, really good, yeah. Nice to see you again.
It's always good to come up. We're at Giants Live HQ, and it's a very, very busy year for Giants Live.
Crazy, yeah. Busy time today. Obviously, we've got Europe's Strongest Man this weekend, so everything's busy. We've got the trucks loaded up and the crew all ready to go. Athletes flying in, and it's great. Real sort of nice buzz about it.
I know we've had Britain's Strongest Man, but it's the first international of the year for Giants Live, and obviously I'm a fan of Europe's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
How does it feel? Because Europe's was the first show that you put on as part of Giants Live. I mean, you did it on your own before Giants Live.
Yeah, Europe's was the first one back in, I think, 2011. Yeah, it's great. It's just come such a long way. It's a sellout on Saturday night. We're in the Leeds First Direct Arena, which is like home for it now, really. It's so successful. There's sort of no real value in moving it round. We've sort of spread the shows out across the country now, in England anyway, Britain, should I say. So it's spread out evenly. We've got, from Glasgow to London, all sort of covered really in between. So we've tried to sort of strategically pick where we put the shows, so everyone's not got too far to go to get to one.
I think that's one of the great things about Strongman in the UK is we never have that far to go. Like all the shows that you go to, I think the furthest people would travel is maybe 6 hours.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously some other countries, like the States for instance, they've got to travel so far for these comps. We're very lucky over here.
We are, yeah. I mean, it all depends where you live, but if you live in London, you've got the Royal Albert Hall one to go to, and if you live in Scotland, you've got one in Scotland, and you have to travel to the opposite, So at some point in the year, we're passing your doorway, so which is cool.
One of the cool things I've noticed by coming to all these Giants Live is we get a lot of the same fans just keep turning up for each show.
Yeah,
there's people you start recognising, they come to every show, and it must be amazing to think back. I remember you put on a show in your gym just down the road here.
Yeah.
And, to think where you've come as a promoter since that.
Yeah, I mean, that was for my spot at World's Strongest Man in 2011, I think it was, early on. And they couldn't decide who to send when I wasn't going, and so I said, well, I'll put on a little qualifier, and about 500 people come to watch it in my gym car park. So I thought, well, this is interesting because it wasn't a massive amount of effort, and the North really has well, I don't know if it's because of what we done or whether it's just naturally it's got such a hardcore sort of strongman fan base in the North for some reason. There's been a lot of good strongmen around here as well over the years.
When I started, I think all the best guys were up north.
Yeah.
And then it sort of shifted to the south. And now, we've got Scotland are amazing now, and there's great strongmen all over.
When I first started, the first year I went to the Northern Qualifier for Britain's Strongest Man, I think that something like 8 out of the top 10 in Britain were from the north.
Yeah.
And there were only 6 places that the qualifier. But they realised that, and they sort of made it fair to put on a couple of qualifiers for us. But then it changes, you get different people coming in, then Terry and different people from the south came in, Jimmy Marco, people like that. So it does move around. I don't think it's in the water. I think it's just more a bit of luck, to be honest with you.
I think you do see those kind of like geographical shifts. We see it worldwide as well, where sort of Iceland was dominating, then America, Eastern Europe. It kind of seems to be like that.
I think on a broader sense what it is because people can see a pathway now. And even like in the north there's quite a few gyms where you can go and just train strongman. And there probably is everywhere in Britain now. And I think what happens is you get a few superstars and a few people training, and they breed more people.
Sure.
Even just other people watching them, they get into it. They're training partners. We've all trained with some really good people over the years that have competed alongside us.
Absolutely, and the standard just keeps getting better. And you spoke about kind of like a pathway now, and that's something you've kind of been keen to do. I know, speaking to you behind the camera, you've obviously got the official strongman. I get in trouble because I say official strongman games, but official strongman.
Yeah, well, we do have a games. I mean, whatever people want to call it, it's fine. I'm pretty cool with it.
Darren gets angry with you if you don't.
I don't get angry. No, I mean, basically, when I first started, and when you started as well, there was no clear pathway to, let's say whatever you want to say. Obviously, our pathway is to Giants Live, World's Strongest Man. now there is, so official strongman. It's been gradually growing over the last sort of probably 8 to 10 years, and it's been a slow burner, but it's really getting there now. People are starting to understand. So official strongman this year, there's going to be European Championships. That's in August in the XL.
Yeah.
So that'll give away all the Europe's Strongest Man titles, apart from the heavyweight, which is obviously this weekend in Leeds. But Europe's Strongest Woman under all the weight categories, Europe's Strongest Master, Europe's Strongest Man under 90 kilos, under 105. So there's actually 10 weight categories and age categories at the Europes. So all this is done on an online qualifying system. So you can go on, there's usually 3 qualifying events. So we try and make it so you don't have to have a high-tech strongman gym to do it. You know, it's sandbag over bar this time, deadlift and log, you know what I mean? It's like, it's stuff you can get your hands on if you really want to. Same with OSG, as you call it. So that's run by Lynn Morehouse. It's an official strongman sanctioned competition, as they all are. Lynn does a great job. The guys that have competed, they'll tell you that. I mean, Lynn had, I think, 400 competitors over in Daytona in November of last year, and this has gone on for years. So that's such a great, almost like a CrossFit-esque type competition. How it's run, it's fast, it's intense, but you get through the athletes. 10 different categories. We're probably hoping to add more as well. Again, online qualifier. So there's online qualifier will open up with certain events. So if you think you're over 50s world's strongest man, you know, possibly sat there, because it's not something we've looked for recently.
Yeah.
You know, it's a new thing. Obviously, Mark Felix has won it. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there might be another guy that's over 50 that's been doing powerlifting all his life that fancies a go at it, and now he can. So all he's got to do is upload 3 lifts, and if he's good enough, if he's European, he can go to the European Games or OSG, which this year is in Charleston, West Virginia.
Yeah, that's where my first Worlds was.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to go and compete there. I'm obviously going to do the Masters myself, but it's great because there are so many more opportunities now. I think, you know, I have people message me, they're maybe 37, 38, they're just getting into strongman, and they have a legitimate pathway now to keep improving and compete at a high level.
And you're only against people of your own age, and we all know, like, I'm 43, like, I'd do well against another 43-year-old, but I don't want to get back in with those boys anymore. You know, you see how good they are. Yeah. Going back to World's Strongest Man, you know, makes my knees ache thinking about it. But, I mean, I'm just trying to get out there and just make people know, look, this is the path, it's so easy. And you see a lot of comments online, well, it's, how do you get to World's Strongest Man, it's who you know, and all this. No, it's not. Once you've got your foot in the door and you've proven you've done some great in competitions, like yourself, like myself, we got invites because we competed for 10 years doing it.
Yeah, sure.
But if you are good enough and you get in that system and you basically come top 3 at an official strongman event, you get to go to a Giants Live, and then you get to go to World's Strongest Man. Now that's been proved with Luke Richardson. He won official strongman games. Evan Singleton, Trey Mitchell, and then this last year it was Spencer Remick. So actually for the last 2 years it was Spencer
and Pavlo as well.
Pavlo Kodiaka. So they've come in the top 3. Pavlo is looking like he's going to be a big name in the sport, and same with Spencer. They've come through official strongman. So, you know, if you are one of those guys that's not sure whether you're only under 90 kilos, under 80 kilos, you know, masters female, it's there. You just go upload your lifts. You're either good enough or you're not. It's not. There's no one criticising or anything like that. It's nice and fair. And if you're good enough, you get to go and compete.
The standard at the official strongman games in Florida last year was super high.
Unbelievable, yeah.
And we're seeing the top 3 from that contest alone have now been invited to World's Strongest Man.
I thought the weights were too heavy when I got there, so I looked over the list, and Lynn Morehouse does a fantastic job of running that for us. And I tend not to criticise him because I'm usually wrong, so I tend not to criticise. But I look at the weights that we do for Giants Live, which I think we get right, you know. And it depends how many shows people have got, and sometimes they're heavier, and we try and get some maxes and some running around. And I looked at the weights for the Masters, and I was like, I think you might have got this wrong. And the 105s.
Yeah, the 105s were like the same weight as the Masters, weren't they?
Yeah, and they were right, and it blew me away really. And the good thing is about this, he's picking the weights off the qualifying series online, so you see what everyone's lifting before they even get there.
Yeah.
So if a 105 guy is doing 300 kilo deadlift for reps, well, he can do that before he even gets there.
Yeah. Well, it's quite scary, really, when you kind of look at what these guys are lifting. I mean, the Masters and the under 105s are doing world's strongest man weights from a few years back.
Definitely, yeah.
The Open is just like any top level international. The top 10 I was super impressed with.
Well, I think that the top 105 guy, it was Clayton
Andrew
this time.
Clayton, yeah.
And the top Masters 40 plus guy, which is Big Z, could still go to World's Strongest Man and not look stupid.
Absolutely.
Which is quite impressive, actually.
Yeah.
Because before that, there's only been a couple of 105 guys that did make that transition that went fairly light, which is probably me and...
I got a question for you, because, I mean, you mentioned that, and, the top 10, I thought at OSG were fantastic last year. There was a couple of athletes that competed at Worlds last year.
Yeah.
That, fair play to them, they got stuck in and went to OSG to try and win that spot, and they didn't even make the top 10.
Yeah.
Do you think some of these guys that maybe get to Worlds and they come 6th, 5th in their group should jump back in there and try and prove themselves, or should they try and a bit almost... I feel some people try and protect themselves by not
going. Yeah, but the other thing is, from that's probably looking at it from a professional athlete. Why would you compete against that guy? Because you have nothing to gain by winning that guy. Whereas if he beats you, you look stupid. But however, if you're the guy trying to climb up the ladder, they want to beat you.
Yeah.
They want to beat the guy that's professional. And the only fair thing is to give them a chance. So I do throw the guys back in and say, listen, you're going to have to qualify again. If they go to Worlds and they do very average, well, to me, most of them are actually still getting better. Like Kordiaka.
Yeah.
He's still getting better. And I think if they go back in, they've got to prove themselves again. Now, if they can't, they can't. It's just what it is. It's all fair. But you've got to give that guy who's on his way up a chance to beat the other guy. Because if not, well, it's not a proper qualifying system. If it's just, oh, well, you did it last year, so you can do it again, well, that's not fair. And yes, you've got to invite certain people back. You can't make everybody re-qualify all the time for a Giants Live, because it just isn't going to work like that. There isn't enough shows. And, I'm not going to ask Novikov to qualify for a Giants Live, or Evan Singleton or anybody else. They would just laugh at me.
Yeah.
But some of the guys have got to keep qualifying. And that's actually quite a difficult job. And not everyone likes the answer.
I personally respect the guys that do it.
Yeah.
The guys that, all right, it didn't go so well when they've got that big opportunity to go away, work hard and come back. And a good example is Spencer Remick, actually, because he's had opportunities. 2017 I saw Spencer in an international. He's gone away, kept working hard. 2021 he came second behind Pavlo Kordiaka. Could have just held on that.
Well, he came to I want to say he came to Royal Albert Hall. Was I right in that?
Yeah,
Maybe it was Glasgow. I think it was Royal Albert Hall, and he did okay. He looked like he should be there, but he wasn't a world beater.
Yeah.
Now, he could have been ringing me going, oh, can I have another go, but he didn't. He went and qualified again and he won OSG. And now I have no choice, because I've committed saying, if you win, you're going to go to a Giants Live. So actually what I did was, he's coming to, I can't remember what show, but he's got an invite to one of the Giants Lives this year. And he's also, straight away, we took him to the team show. He was in Team USA. Yeah. So within actually 2 weeks, he was at a Giants Live. I think it was like 2 weeks later.
Yeah, it just shows that you got to. How many times are you going to be training quietly with no one knowing, and then suddenly the opportunities come?
We needed somebody for the World's Strongest Nation to go in Mines Lish's team, and I was like, well, it's got to be Spencer, because he just kicked everyone's ass at OSG.
Yeah. So
we know he's fit, and there was 7 events.
Yeah.
So he's done 7 events, a couple of weeks rest. We know he's fit, and he did really well, So. I don't know. I think the days are gone of the guys just doing a couple of shows and resting on the laurels. I think they've got to keep relevant. Once they've made it through and they've proved at a few shows and done a few podiums, different story. Yeah. Different story.
So one thing I do hear some people complaining about, people like to complain about everything.
Yeah,
this is a legitimate one. We're in a tough time right now. For a lot of people to get to official Strongman games in America for the Worlds, it's expensive. It's a big kind of cost. So this year you've got the European contest as well for more European athletes, obviously. Are they going to get that same opportunity? Will the top 3 at that get an opportunity to do a Giants Live?
They'll qualify for the Worlds, okay. And then what I'm saying at the moment is, because I don't want to overcommit, because we've got quite a full lineup. If someone comes to the Open Europe's Strongest Man and they absolutely smash it, I'm going to give them an invite.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It all depends who comes and what they're against. And we know the weights. You know, if it's a 350 deadlift, if someone comes out and does 15 reps on it, we're all going to be shocked and can't believe it. You know, whereas if the winner gets 5, so it is a qualifier, yeah. I can't give so many places. We only have so many places to get people qualified, but that's going to be where we're picking people from. Also, for the Britain's Strongest Woman, we've got the first ever Britain's Strongest Woman that we've done this year. That's in the end of September. So I'm leaving some places free there for the European qualifier. So the top British women we're going to be looking at. So if someone comes through and they've just literally beaten all the big names, we've invited most of the big names in the female categories in the Opens. But if someone comes through and absolutely smashes them, well, I'll give them an invite. So yes, it is a qualifier to anything.
Yeah.
Because we're always looking, you know what I mean? And that is by getting in front of us. And also, all our shows now have a core of top athletes. So the fact of it is, if you beat them, you are a top athlete and you get an invite. So it's quite a simple process, but I don't like to overpromise these places, because then you end up with too many people, you know, and not enough shows, which I don't want to do that.
Of course.
But certainly the top 3 from the main games would be going to a Giants Live, which has proved all those guys that have won it have actually gone to World's Strongest Man, including Spencer, that's got his invite in about 3 weeks for World's Strongest Man.
Yeah. You mentioned the women there. I know they are extremely excited to have Britain's Strongest Woman on a big stage, an actual competition that's... I think one of the complaints maybe some of the women have had before is that they're like the sideshow to the men, and you're putting the women out there on their own to put on a show.
Well, I'm not going to start knocking any of the promoters or anything like that, because everyone does what they do, and everyone does the best they can do. But the things that we've done with the females is OSG, which is brilliant for them. You know, it puts them in a spotlight, and they all love it, and it's very fair. And like I say, all you need is a computer and some bars to be able to qualify. And then we did the World's Strongest Nation, which we had male and female there, and we showcased the women, and which, I'll be honest, I was apprehensive. I don't know how it's going to go, but they absolutely smashed it. And I mean, after that show, the athletes all came back to the hotel, and there was a few people in the hotel that had been there. And the women got a standing ovation as they walked in. The guys didn't. Do you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. There's some great guys there. They were received so well. And this Britain's Strongest Woman isn't going to be a full Giants Live. With the hope, if the support's there, it'll be in a big arena next year. And it's not going to be it's low prize money and it's they don't get the lights and bells and whistles and all that. We're going to throw everything at it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not a massive arena, but it's
where Britain started.
It's where Britain's Strongest Man started. Not many years ago. You've been there. I used to like
competing there.
Yeah, we've sweated in there a lot. Haven't we? It was where I did my last competition actually. But it will be a great show, and they're all up for it.
Yeah.
And I think they've been given a chance now to really shine, and I just know they will, because you know what they're like. They've got some real strong characters.
The women's side is very exciting right now, because I think we don't know what they're capable of.
No.
They just seem to keep getting better.
Yeah.
I have to say, I really enjoy watching the women compete.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And it's hard to sometimes predict who's going to win. There's so many great athletes.
I was nervous at the team show, and as soon as it started, I was so excited. I felt like I was like a fanboy again. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my god, I can't believe how good this is.
Yeah.
And they perform. You know what I mean? Even on the Hercules Hole, people are saying, "Oh,
Gabby Dixon on the Hercules Hole."
That thing is set up the same for everybody.
She beat Martins Lisses.
Yeah,
which is just ridiculous.
And people going, "Oh, what have you done to it?" No, I don't know what I can do to it to make any higher. It's 2 massive pillars hanging off your hands. You know what I mean? It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And great characters as well, not just strong as hell. They all had a bit of character about them. People like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's their time really. And what will prove it is be honest with you, live stream sales, ticket sales. Like I said, we're going to put some decent prize money up for it. But if it blows up, then we'll take it as far as we can. You know what I mean? Simple as that. It's not just let's put this on to please the women. No, we're actually we're as serious about this as they are, because I can see the growth in it.
Absolutely. Well, that same weekend you've got England's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And you've got a qualifier, I believe, this year for England's Strongest Man because we have so many great British athletes right now.
Yeah.
But there's never been a qualifier for Britain from the English side of the perspective, the English athletes. And there's probably 10 to 20 guys just outside that top 10 that are all really doing well right now. And you're putting a qualifier on.
It's been a little bit unfair. So what we have is, just to explain the system for anybody who doesn't know, we have Stuart Murray, who puts on Scotland's Strongest Man, who I take the Scottish athletes from there. We have Dave Warner, who puts on Ireland's Strongest Man. I take the winner from there. And Gav Bilton puts on Wales' Strongest Man, even though he is Wales' Strongest Man. He puts on Wales' Strongest Man. Before that, it was Dale Peters. So we take the athletes from there, and it's not always one athlete. Like this year we took 2 Scots. Yeah. If it's close, and again it all goes on the results. If someone's really done well and it's close, or the weights are big, or the reps are unbelievable, we'll take more athletes. But then the England's. I've been so busy. It's something that I've wanted to do for years and years, because there is so many good guys out there, and I feel like I know there's people saying to me, "Oh, it's unfair. There's no England's Giants Live." I know it's unfair.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I admit it, and I got a lot of grief online saying, "Oh, it's not fair. You take this person. What about this person?" Well, I hold my hands up, but we can't do everything all the time. So this year we've got a qualifier on in May, which is getting put on by Unbreakable Promotions. Eddie Monks, he's putting that on, so that'll be quite a few people who can get put through there.
That's going to be a great weekend, by the way, in Gloucester Keys.
Yeah,
there's the British Masters on the Saturday, and then the qualifier on the Sunday. Yeah. So lots of good strongman action.
I think you'll be making a comeback
as well. So if anyone wants to come down and support an old man, get your tickets.
That'll be live streamed as well. We're going to live stream that on Official
cool.
Strongman.
Excellent.
So yeah, you've got a great weekend there: Masters and Britain's Strongest Man and England's Strongest Man qualifier, and I think that will see a lot of people coming out of woodwork. So that'll get you a direct invite to England's Strongest Man, which is the day after the Britain's Strongest Woman in the same arena.
And there's already a good lineup for England so far.
I invited like 5 people just that I think should be invited. And we've got Shane Flowers, we've got Paul Smith, Kane Francis,
Felix as well.
Matt Felix, your man Ryan Bennett.
Yep.
So there's 5 there straight away. That they're the guys I just really want to see where they were against each other, and then there'll probably be about another 7 more from that qualifier. So that qualifier is going to be good.
Good show that will be.
Yeah, and then I believe that is going to be the one that brings on the most new talent.
I'd agree with that.
And then the England Strongest Man, again, that's going to be it's going to be an official strongman competition, but like a Giants Live production.
Yeah.
Live streamed as well. And then what we're going to do from there is that, other than the certain people that we invite to Britain's Strongest Man, Adam Bishop, Graham Hicks, people like this, but we'll be picking from that England Strongest Man. That's the English guys that will be going.
Awesome.
So it's
English guys need to get training hard.
They need to get there, yeah, and
lots of opportunities this year. You've got the European OSG, you've got the World's OSG, you've got these English qualifiers.
Yeah.
So many opportunities for these up and coming guys. I know some of the guys that I train, they've got a real busy schedule that want to do all these kind of shows.
Yeah,
and it is an exciting time to see that growth in the sport and have new athletes that have an opportunity to get to the levels that we competed at.
We've got the 6 Giants Live shows on. We've got Britain's that's already been. April the 1st, we've got Leeds. I say this weekend. I'm looking at my notes, by the way, I'll be honest.
Go for it.
Royal Albert Hall, July the 8th. We've got Cardiff with the World Deadlift Championships, September the 2nd. We've got the World Tour final in Glasgow, October the 21st, which that is a cool show. Yeah. And then I'm going to probably put the World Log Lift Championships there.
Okay.
And then we've got the World's Strongest Nation, Liverpool, which was just like the coolest thing ever last year.
I saw you guys just posted it up on your YouTube channel, and it was a brilliant show to be involved with. Just different as well.
Yeah, it was so cool.
So many opportunities for people to see Giants Live in the UK right now, all over the country.
Yeah.
What about internationally? Are we going to get any opportunities? Maybe not this year, but potentially next year in the future.
Well, there's so many things on the boil. I don't really want to say too much because nothing's sort of signed off yet. But we're looking at quite a few shows abroad as well. There's a few things sort of on the table, working with other big companies that want to sort of take us out there, really. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on. Probably a couple in America next year, starting early next year. But there will be big shows. And there'll be a full giant, just like you have over here. But what I want to do is I don't want to rush anything. I want to go into it with plenty of time and get them sold out, get the big names there. Yeah, so we've got loads on. What with the Britain's Strongest Woman, England's Strongest Man, on top of everything else. So it's all good. So it'll be heart attack material for me this year.
So unbelievably busy year this year. You must be giving out a fair bit of prize money now in Strongman. It's not like when you and me were battling for a grand.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, we don't give out anywhere near the most prize money for one show, but we give out the most across a year. So in sort of the official Strongman, Giants Live and World's Strongest Man, whatever you want to call it, federation, affiliation, I don't know what you want to call it, we're giving out close to $1 million this year.
Really?
Yeah, between us all. Which is massive.
That's amazing to think Strongman is in a position where through a year, just through Giants Live, and I guess official Strongman, that you're giving close to $1 million.
That's it. So basically, it isn't going. You know, there is some great big prize money out there, which is cool for the athletes. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's good prize money, but ours is more going to a lot of people. Yeah. You know, with the official Strongman. Obviously, World's Strongest Man is over 30 athletes. Giants Live, we have so many athletes over the year, and everyone gets a few quid. So it's putting it out wider rather than all in one go.
What's the top prize at the moment in Giants Live?
So the top prize this year in the World Tour final will be $40,000. Oh, cool. Yeah. There's like things like there's a $55,000 bonus for the world record deadlift. We've got different bonuses for different things, you know, Hercules holes and things like that. And as I say, we've got a lot of shows this year, so it all adds up at the end of it all.
Yeah, it's great to see now so many athletes doing it full time, having that opportunity to earn some money, and sponsors are better now. The production that you guys put in allows more companies to want to get behind Strongman, which helps the athletes as well.
I mean, it's only how it's evolved. But there's in a business, there's so much money you can put into prize money. But I sort of like the fact that it's spread quite wide, and I think that does the sport quite a lot of good because it's going to a lot of people, you know, rather than just massive prize money for a first place and then that one guy wins every show and then that's it, whereas this is going out to a lot of people that might be considered amateurs as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice to do that, and it keeps people coming back as well. You know, it's not one of those sports where people are earning millions, but a few quid always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and you say that. I mean, no one's earning millions from prize money and whatnot yet, but if you think back to 10, 11 years ago when you put that first competition on and where you've come to now, where do you see things in 5 or 10 years' time?
Just growing. I just want it to keep growing, and the rate it's growing seems healthy. You know, the prize money goes up every year, the attendance goes up every year, the athletes are getting more conditioned and fitter. The fan base, the social media following, everything goes up. So it's all going the right way. I sort of did think this year, with things with COVID and, you know, recession, all that sort of thing, that we'd probably be 10 to 20% down on ticket sales, but we're actually up.
Wow.
You know, and I was sort of almost thinking, well, this year might not be fantastic, and just like any business, you've just got to just get on with it. But we're having a great year, you know, and the athletes are all motivated. We're motivated, so it's great, and I just want to do the best job that I can to move it forward, really. But I don't think it's something you can rush. I think it just generically grows. But like you said, you haven't got to look that far back when me and you were in car parks earning a grand, you know what I mean? And
being happy. We were happy, by the way. It wasn't a grand, like,
no, we were
guaranteed.
Happy.
Yeah.
We weren't moaning about it. So yeah, no, it's all good. Everything's going great. Official Strongman's looking after so many people, giving that avenue to get to the big shows. Giants Live is now got such a great fan base, great fans. World's Strongest Man's got the big title. We all go out there once a year and smash it up and see who's the best there. And also, there's some other great shows out there. The Shaw Classic, Brian's doing a great job there. You know, again, good prize money. The athletes tell me it's brilliant, gets well looked after. The Rogue Invitational's cool, massive prize money there. And I think we can all coexist brilliantly, actually.
Do you look at these other competitions?
I do a little bit. Yeah, I'm so busy all the time. I don't tend to look at everything. I tend not to look at negativity, the stuff online, because it just like I don't think it does you any good. And there's always, no matter what you're doing, if you're doing something good, somebody's going to be there to say it's crap. You know what I mean? But yeah, I look at them just to see how everyone's doing, and I think that it's all good, it's all positive.
Yeah, my personal thought process, I think sometimes people are like, oh, you've got to pick one or the other. I think that's a terrible kind of attitude. I think there's so many opportunities now for athletes, and as long as people are putting on great shows and building them and getting them bigger, it can all kind of coexist.
I never look at them with negativity, I look at them with positivity, because, you know, we've had shows where someone else has put a show on the same day and be like, oh no, and then we've had 2 great shows in the world, 2 big international shows, and they've been absolutely fine. We've coexisted, and we've
got so many great athletes now.
Exactly.
Well, so it's more opportunities. Actually, this weekend there's a big show happening in Russia.
Right. Okay.
So some of the athletes might choose to do that. But,
yeah.
You know, it's opportunities for different people from around the world.
Exactly. There's so many good athletes now. We don't have to. No one needs to be falling out. Everyone just gets their head down, and it's all building towards positivity and a better future.
Yeah, better Strongman. So
definitely, yeah.
It's good.
Definitely.
So awesome to see how busy you are with John's Life. I know you get you obviously Liz and myself kind of pay a lot of attention to what people are saying, and I know there's so many things that you're doing in the background, but it's just time, and you can't do everything all at once.
Yeah, I do look at people and say, oh, why don't I do this, why don't I do that? Like, Jesus, you know, let us breathe a bit, you know, we're doing our best. But I think in general it's pretty positive, and like I say, you always get negative people. It's just what it is. It's just some people will be negative about anything.
Yeah, and I think the most part people are really appreciative of what's happening and seeing the growth in the sport.
Well, when I send invites out to athletes, everyone says yes. We have great. You're always with us. No one ever falls out. Everyone gets paid. Everyone's happy. What more do we want?
Yeah,
that's it, done. You know what I mean? Everyone's happy. Everyone competes. We don't want to see injuries. We try not to put events in. Yes, strongman is hard on your body, but you know there's a few events that have. You know, I try not to put tire flipping in more and things like that. I try not to put big squats and things like that in because I've seen so many injuries.
Yeah, sure.
I want the guys to last a bit longer. Yes, every event is dangerous, but we try.
It's the beast, but you can be. Yeah, like I was at a competition where I saw 4 people have issues with biceps on a tyre flip recently.
Yeah,
so.
And well, I've seen that. In fact, me and you have both done our bicep on a tire flip. We're both sat here. So there we go. There's the proof.
Same one.
so I just don't really want that. And although it sounds ridiculous, we're putting all these crazy events. You know, I don't think that tire flip is such a great spectacle that it's worth losing at these athletes.
Yeah.
You know, it is a great test of strength, but you get it wrong slightly, your bicep comes off, and then you're off for 6 months.
Yeah.
And I want to see the guys earn some money and be fit. And
well, it's their livelihood now as well.
When you see someone get injured, when you've been there yourself, like it's such an awful feeling. You'll be the same as me. You see it, and you think, oh, shit, that guy's like, he just tried so hard to get here. He sat there in front of 12,000 people, and now he's in a taxi going home. You know what I mean? It's such a shit position to be in. So we do our best to try and not put people at risk, which is difficult because it is hard.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a lot of sports are hard. You know, people at football get injured, probably more than strongman actually.
When you're on that edge of being great at anything, you're always on the edge. The risk is high.
It.
But great that you've got such a busy year. Lots happening. I mean, you've got World's Strongest Man coming up. We've got Europe's this weekend, and you know I like to talk about how we think athletes can do and stuff. So put you on the spot a little bit in your position. This weekend, let's start with Europe's Strongest Man.
Europe's Strongest Man.
Who should we be looking out for?
So I think you've got your usuals like Novikov, Hicks is there, Bish is there. I think Paro Dwyer's got really good events. I think Par's got the best events that he's had in a show.
Yeah.
It's like we picked it for him, although we haven't. But I also think Bish is good at those events.
Agreed.
And I also think Novikov's good at those events. But your outsider, who's also good at, like, you've got a loading event and a Conan's wheel. I've got a feeling Kodiaka's going to be really good at that.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's my view, and also Gav Bilton just seems to be getting just a little bit better all the time.
He's made good progress, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's lost a bit of weight as well. which I think will help him for this show. I'm saying that he's still like 185.
He's a big boy, but I've been really impressed with the way Gav has just like knuckled down the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes you can get invited to a Giants Live and think that you've made it. But then getting to a Giants Live, you can do well in one, but then when you keep getting invited, you're going against these beasts week in, week
soon
out.
come unstuck, it's difficult.
So it takes a bit of time to adjust and be able to compete at that level consistently.
Yeah.
But he's worked hard, and I've got a lot of time for Gav. I think the crowd love him, don't they?
Yeah, they love him, because he's such a nice guy, you know what I mean? He's just a good guy.
What about World's Strongest Man then? That's going to be an interesting show. Lots of kind of comebacks, people talking about their last shows, people coming back. You know, there's a lot happening with Worlds this year.
Well, the heats events are the same as Europe's. I did it on purpose because you've only got a couple of weeks between them. So a lot of the guys are using Europe's as a nice sort of warm-up for Worlds, if you like. So there's nothing crazy, there's no max deadlift or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, it's heavy, it's strongman, but there's nothing that's going to hopefully put these guys in too much danger so they can't go to Worlds. But yeah, I mean, again, obviously Tom Stoltman absolutely smashed it last year, let's be honest. He didn't have a great time at the Arnolds, but it looks like him and Luke are really trying to sort of pull that back. So it'd be nice to see if they can get themselves back fit again, which you can't write either of them off. Certainly Tom, I mean, he's so naturally gifted, so he's got to be one of your favourites. You've got great events for Brian Shaw, but again, I think with the loading and the Conan's wheel in there, deadlift for reps, Novikov's up there. In the final, the heat, that's the heats, but he's going to get through the heats pretty easy, I think. And then you got Kiliaskowski back, which he's also got good events in the final.
Do you think we'll see him at the Giants Live this year?
Yeah, he was contemplating coming to Europe's actually. I invited him and he'd done Arnold's. He was like, I just want to get ready for Worlds. So, you know, so he's up for doing something later on in the year.
Good to see him back in the UK.
Yeah, but I think he's a little nervous. He hasn't said this to him. I think he's a little nervous. He just wants to get a show under his belt, which he has done at Arnold's, done great, go to Worlds, and I think he feels like he got put out too soon, because to me everyone said he's going to win World, then he's gone with all these injuries. And he looking at the Arnolds, looks like he's on form.
I mean, he's still only 29 years old, which is quite scary.
It all depends how these injuries have affected him, but as I say, look at the Arnolds, he looks good.
I watched him at the Arnolds, obviously. He won 3 events out there, and to be fair, still not back to his best.
No.
So that's exciting if he can kind of get through a few more comps, get that confidence building. And
I think we're going to see a lot of him. I think he's not finished by a long way. I wouldn't like to say win World's Strongest Man. The events are different this year, which is great, which is what we want to do. We want to keep changing the events. The events last year were great. We're trying to keep it nice and well rounded, so you've always got a max event, always got some reps, always got something running around, a bit of strength, stamina in there as well. But yeah, I wouldn't like to call it.
I think it's going to be a really close one. For me, there's like a few guys that can all win.
I think Novikov's got very good events. And then I think someone like Evan Singleton looks great in his training. He's never really had a chance. He's won quite a lot of Giants Live, so he's been seeded well at World's Strongest Man. But then every time he gets to Worlds, he's either hurt himself, got sick. He's got sick twice and torn his bicep once. And then this is his 4th year.
Yeah.
So he's never had a chance. But one thing is for sure, if Evan is on form, he's brilliant.
Absolutely.
But he's never had a chance.
The thing I always say with Evan, he's got like all the tools.
Yeah.
He's got, you look at him as an athlete, you think, there's no real weakness there.
No.
He's good at deadlifting, he's good at pressing, he's fast, he's explosive, he's got a great grip.
He's very motivated as well, is Evan. He trained over here quite a lot, and he's always up for it.
Yeah.
Which that's half the battle, he's not...
In my opinion, just from the outside, his biggest issue is himself sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes,
but physically, he has everything.
He does, yeah. I think I've got a good feeling about Evan this year. I think he's going to do well. Because his training looks good. And he's had injuries. We've all had injuries.
Absolutely.
And none of them have been too serious. But I think he really wants it. Novikov always wants it. It'd be interesting to see what Tom turns up like I say,
Tom's a hard one to predict, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like, I could never bet against him at once.
No, exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't like to say.
So
yeah, it's difficult. When they did the Arnolds, I thought, I'm not sure. You know what I mean? He's not on form, and then you see him training now, and you think, actually, he's looking good again.
I think he's got such an advantage being so good at stones that he can kind of hold back a little bit in the heats.
He could come third in his group, it won't matter, because he just get thrown the stone off, you know. So if you got that,
be like you having the Conans as the last.
That's it, yeah.
Do you reckon that's something I thought I'd ask you about? You know, the stone off has become a thing recently.
Yeah.
Would you like to see, like, it's great having an event like that, that there's that pressure on that last event and there's still a chance for people.
Yeah.
But would you like to see the event changed, or are you kind of happy with it always being the stones?
I think it's very exciting for the viewer, because it's on there. Yeah. That's it. It's like it's man versus man, and I think that's very raw. It's not always the best for the athlete in the sense of a sport, but I get why they do it, and I do like it. When I'm refereeing it, I always feel like I'm excited about it. Possibly we change it. I don't know, or back to the old format. But I think at the moment it does work well. And also, you know, people say it's just one event, but the good thing is about stones is it does test a lot of things. You know, it's not just like a deadlift or a squat. It tests a lot of stuff. You know, you can get someone that he's very strong but can't do out the stones very well. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of guys that just aren't that good at them. And I do believe it is a real test of...
Did you see Jordan Mulligan doing the out the stone at the Arnold?
No, I heard about it though.
It was unbelievable.
What was that all about? Yeah.
He's like beating some of the top strongmen. And he probably wouldn't beat them at anything else, but he was bloody good.
But if you've got nice long arms and a strong back, that's all you need, you know.
It is an exciting one to finish with. And I think I'd love to see it if it was a tie break. Yeah. You know, like if two guys were tied on points, rather than count back or last man, just go head-to-head stone.
I mean, I do agree with that, and I'd like to see it as well. Like the devil in me wants to see it, but then imagine you've just done World's Strongest Man and you've done 12 events, and then they go, right, guys, you've got to do a stone off. Like that is, but they've just done stones.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. But
it's kind of, you know, it's taken it to the absolute limit, but. Me personally, it's brutal, and probably if I was competing, I'd say no. Yeah. But from a fan's point of view, and even I guess even from a competitor,
it's actually fair.
I'd rather have the chance to still win, than no, that's it, done. Yeah.
I like the idea. I'll put it to the board. I do like the idea.
See what they say.
Yeah,
let us know what you guys think below.
No, it is cool, but there's the devil in me wants to do it, but then there's another thing. It's like, are we going to kill people anyway? It's just like. So.
It is, but it is one of those things at the moment. I feel with like stones always being the last event. Right now, there's probably three guys. I'd say Trey Mitchell, Brian Shaw, and Tom could all end up third in their group and still make the final.
Well, and also, he's not going to be there this year. Maxime Boudreau,
I took him out because he's unfortunately injured.
But you get against Maxime on stones, you're pretty screwed. Yeah. I mean, and also there's this part of me that's like, who wants to see Tom versus Trey on a stone off, or any of those guys versus any of them? Well, that's almost cruel.
Yeah, it's almost probably unlikely with where they'd be.
But years ago, it was Belsac versus somebody in a stone off.
JF.
And it just went on and on and on. And it was just like, I think they did like 16, 17 reps on it.
I think Belsac ended up with 22 reps.
Was it? Is that what it was?
Screwed for the final.
And I just remember thinking, this is almost like cruelty, you know what I mean? But we didn't expect it to go on like that. But you just got two ballsy men that just both of them wanted to be in that final.
And that's what you love when it comes down to who wants it more.
But I wouldn't have said those two were the great. They're both good stone lifters, but you didn't think they'd be that great. But when they were put against it, right, this is your place in final.
Yeah,
they both dug deep. And that's, imagine if that was for the title. Do you know what I mean? That'd be something special.
Yeah, for the title, I think it would be cool. Like, was it last year? Novikov and Lissis were joint on points.
Yeah.
Just to decide something like that, I think. Good. But it would be very punishing as well.
Definitely.
Right, one more thing. Hafthor Bjornsson is going for a powerlifting world record this year.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw he was coming out.
And then he's mentioning wanting to come back to Strongman.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think he's great. I think Hafthor. I think there's been like an era of like. There was like the Brian and Sejunas era and the Eddie and Thor era, and everyone knows about all the bullshit and they didn't get on and all that. But Hafthor's done a lot for Strongman, just being who he is, because he's so good at it, and he's acting and things like that. And Eddie's done a lot for Strongman. They elevated it as much as we put those guys on a platform. We all helped each other because we gave them a platform to perform on, and I think it'd be great to see him back if he's healthy and everything like that. I think there's a time to retire, but I think if he doesn't think it is, he's not that old.
No, I think he's still early 30s, to be honest.
I mean, things have gone on there, obviously, with different accusations and things like that. But I don't know. I think a lot of stuff has been said, probably by both sides. None of it by me, but by both sides, that has actually probably just, it's like an argument, isn't it? People get into an argument, and before you know it, it's like when families fall out. Before you know it, there's this big argument, and then
you forgot what you
fell out over. And I think I think that with things like that, there's got to be a time where you just put it to bed. And I have no problem with Thors at all.
Would you like an opportunity to talk to him and maybe invite him to a show?
I'd invite him to come to any show he wants. Yeah. I have no problem with him. Me and Thors have always got on well. He's come and stayed at my house. We've always got on great. He used to come to the shows. He was always a gentleman to me. And whether he does my shows or not, I'll tune in and watch him compete.
I think it'd be exciting for Strongman to see him back.
I think it'd be exciting. Yeah, I really hope he does well. And I couldn't see him not doing well.
No,
because he's not that sort of guy.
Well, I don't know if you follow much of his training at the moment. His progress, he's a freak of nature. Yeah. The guy is so strong.
I think what he's doing though, doing the powerlifting first, makes perfect sense, because we know he can move with stuff and we know he's athletic. But if he gets that strength base, that he's going for like the best strength base ever, basically, and then come back into strongman.
I mean, he's asking a lot of himself to go and break this record.
Yeah.
But if he does, he legitimately has a claim to being the strongest man of all time.
But again, he's putting pressure on himself, and he works well. It's like him and Eddie fighting each other. And people go on about Eddie would lose, Thors would lose. Unless you're willing to get in the ring, one of them two need to show up. You know what I mean? Yeah. They were both willing to get in the ring with a former 200 kilo world strongest man winner. Mm. They weren't boxers, but they had boxing training. Unless you're that guy, everyone's got an opinion on it. My thing is, no, they weren't boxers, and if you were a pro boxer, you could pull lumps out of it. But they weren't. But they fought each other, and they both had massive bollocks, as far as I'm concerned.
Both great athletes, both very determined, both very hard working.
But I think with these things, like I say, things got said on both sides. This gets said, that gets said. Sometimes you just got to put these things to bed. Life's too short, And at the end of the day, Thors, the one thing that I respect him massively for, he's a big family man.
Yeah.
Same as Eddie, the family people. They've got a lot of love. They don't like each other.
No.
We don't all have to get on. It's not a bloody popularity contest. Yeah. But the family men. You see, Thors used to come with all his family. There was so much sort of love there. So he's not a nasty guy.
No.
He's a good guy.
Absolutely.
But things get said. Things get said both ways. It ends up, I think, neither person's right. You just need to sometimes draw a line under it. That's my opinion.
Sure.
And as far as him competing, I wish him best of luck. If he ever wants to ring me, my door's always open to him. Simple as that.
Awesome. Well, we'd love to see him at a Giants Live, but
that's a dream.
Tuning in to watch him anyway. It sounds like you've got plenty of your stuff on yourself anyway. So
yeah.
You're a very busy man. Thank you very much for
No worries,
talking to us.
anytime. Yeah, nice to talk to you.
I'm sure it was going to be a good event this weekend. You've got World's Strongest Man and loads more comps this year. Guys, make sure you tune into the Giants Live shows. There's lots of opportunities. If you haven't been to a Giants Live show before, make sure you get to them. They are, without question, the best one-day shows on the planet. Take it easy, guys.